this episode was another incredible episode. I love this season so much, and I have such high hopes for the finale. Although I am so sad that we are ready for a finale. How can this be possible? Why is this season only 10 episodes? It really makes me sad. I do believe they will wrap it up. I don't think there's a surprise extra episode, but it makes me sad. But anyway, this episode was packed with stuff. And if you will think about it, the last 3 episodes, 7, 8, and 9, have been super packed because they were part of the 3 Days in Hell second reality show. Sorry, I still think it's a second reality show. And I'm not sorry because, guys, even after this episode and even after the preview for the finale, I still feel confident that all of what we have been watching is fake, and I will give you my different points as we go along with what happened in this episode as to why I felt like there were a few clues that pointed out that this was fake yet again. So finally, we see Taissa. Finally, sadly, we don't see very much of her, but I know we've waited on her all season. And so essentially, she was a YouTuber. I mean, they didn't say the word YouTube because they can't, but it was her and 2 other guys who had been super fans of season 1 of My Roanoke Nightmare, and they wanted to come out to the place where the show was shot, and they wanted to make their own videos. So at first they were just kind of recording stuff, and they run up on that woman who worked with Sydney, who we saw getting attacked in her car as she was trying to leave. I think that was in the twist episode. And they see her walking, and she's acting really weird, but when they get to her, she's talking about her car, and they get to her car, and it's turned over, and they see her dead body in there, so they film that. So they go to the police, and the police, just like in the documentary, don't believe anything they're saying, even though they say they have this on camera. The police go out there, and they don't find her body, so is it real or is it fake? And that's kind of the whole basis for this episode, and it was really twisting with your mind because they were really driving that point, do you think it's real or do you think it's fake? And I think the reason that they brought it up so many times with the YouTubers, like, is this real? Is this a prank? Is this real? Was to mess with you, and it's because it is fake. Because I think if it was real, they wouldn't have to keep driving that point home and confusing you. So anyway, they soon realize when they go back out that there's a lot of issues there. Like, they find dead Sydney and the guy that works with him, and they realize that it is not a safe place and that some crazy crap is going down. So meanwhile, we still have fake Shelby. I want to call her so many names. I call her Sarah and fake Shelby, and Audrey, which is her name in the show this time around. And then we have Monet is missing, who is Angela Bassett's character. We don't know where she is right now. And then we have real Lee. So they need to go back and get that confession that Lee made. So they go to do that, and they find Monet tied up at the Polk Weed House. We barely get any action from the Polk people this episode, which was weird. Oh, and I should mention that Wes Bentley is back in the picture. We knew that he came to the house at the end of last week's episode. So guys, it looked like to me, he said he Ubered there, which was so funny because he was wearing the pig mask in the Uber. This season has been hilarious for me in all the right ways. But anyway, it looked like the same Uber driver from the documentary, and I'm not 100% on that because I haven't been able to review that old episode. But if that's the case, you're not going to tell me that they had, first of all, we know the first season was fake and that guy was an actor, so it can't be him again unless he's a freaking actor. So that would be a huge clue, but I'm not sure. When we were doing the live reactions, and people thought that it was him, so I could be wrong on that, so don't hold me to it. But anyway, the whole Uber scene, so funny. So anyway, Wes goes with them to go out and find Monet. And they find her, and she looks like she hasn't been injured at all, which is a little bit weird, but they rescue her. They shoot up a guy, one of the Polk people who really have not very much relevance anymore. Lee's surprisingly able to move around really well, kind of like real Shelby was. Real Shelby had all kinds of injuries, and she was moving around just fine and was able to beat her husband to death, so that's believable. And then we've got real Lee, who's had her ear removed and her leg was served for dinner or whatever, and she's just moving around like it's no big deal. I mean, she has a little bit of a limp, but yeah, whatever, come on. So it did kind of appear that someone was attacked, like something happened to Wes. Not really sure, but he kind of disappears and we assume that he is dead. I'm not sure if he got killed here or later in the episode, but if you think you know, let me know. This episode was really dark and it was hard to see things at times, especially toward the end. So anyway, with Taissa's character, who is Sophie, I loved her character, even though we just saw her in one episode. These guys are in it for the views and the subscribers, and what was it? Hashtag Blood Moon. So funny. And again, I still feel like Ryan is making such a social statement with this entire season. I think it's just so obvious. So they're still wondering, like, is this real? I can't believe it. They go into the control room and they realize that some of the people are still alive, but they're in danger because Lee escapes from the group. I'm not really sure why she does, but she gets approached by the witch. Now, in this version of this reality show, we still haven't seen that witch's face. We know Lady Gaga played her in the documentary, but who is this one? I don't know. But it appears that she eats a heart, kind of like the scene that went down with Gaga and the butcher Kathy Bates earlier, and she gets possessed, and she starts to take on the characteristics of the butcher herself. Anyway, so funny and so crazy. I'm sorry, I just think it's funny. It's just funny. I just love it so much. So they also allude to a lot of different horror movies, the YouTubers, which is another example to me why this is, you know, fake. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on with their footage. Like, it's distorted in a way that looks like it was, you know, put together in a production house. Definitely. So Sophie gets the wonderful idea that they need to go save Audrey and Monet, which makes absolutely no sense. They start live streaming, which major props to them. And you know, you know that I live stream on YouTube, but I'm not going down. I'm not dying for the cause. I mean, it would be great to get 20,000 subscribers in a day, but no thanks. So they go out to see what they can do, which is just freaking stupid because they know Lee is coming there. So Lee comes there and fake Lee tries to take her on because she's like, because they've seen that confession in the meantime. They looked at that video and they saw that she confessed to murder, so they're not friends of hers anymore. And of course, as we all could expect, real Lee takes out fake Lee, which is just hilarious, and pushes her over the railing and she dies. So then Audrey is trying to escape and they get into a fight, and then she gets pushed into like some kind of underground cellar thing. It might have been where that one guy was living in the documentary. And she looks injured, but I'm pretty sure at this point she's going to make it. And, you know, Sarah Paulson always survives, so I'm thinking she might survive this season. Although I didn't understand how it was going to work with Lana, but we'll figure that out in just a little bit. So then, of course, the YouTubers are trying to help out, but the colonists return, including the butcher, and they are disemboweling Wes's character. So I don't know if he died there or died earlier, but he's definitely dead. And Lee is there with them because, hey, she's like one of them at this point. Now, this point in the show makes it so obvious to me this is fake because they show a, you know, like a graphic, a full screen that is saying the following footage was taken from the iCloud account of that guy who's with Thaisa/Sophie. Again, if this footage was supposedly raw and it was turned over to police, maybe I could buy into that, but no one's going to professionally edit it and put up graphics for some video that was just turned over to police or something. That makes no sense. Again, maybe it was a show that hasn't aired yet, but I find that hard to believe too because they bleeped out the curse words, and I know that they can't have those curse words on FX, but that's not what we're talking about here because this is not essentially American Horror Story. It's the 3 Days in Hell, you know, 3 Nights in Hell, whatever. It's the other reality show. And because the fact that, you know, it's live deaths, I mean, I don't know if someone put it together and never released it or if it was actually aired. I think it was actually aired. So, wow. This, like I said, this episode is so crazy. So this footage that they said was sensitive footage and all that, obviously this was not something for the police. It was for viewers, hello. And the Audrey and that YouTube guy got burned at the stake by the colonists. And we assume that our only survivor is Lee. So the next thing we see is actually body cams from the police. They're coming up on the scene and we see them get Lee, who looks like she doesn't remember anything that went down. But like I said, Audrey turns out to be alive. Now what she tries to do is grab one of the police officers' guns to shoot Lee because she knows she's a murderer in many ways. But when police see her doing that, they shoot her and kill her. But this actually makes sense because we have to make room for Lana, and I knew she would be saved for the finale, and I was right. So we get this super short preview showing Lana interviewing Lee, and it looks like Lee's become a hero because of all of this. Now this messed with my mind because now I'm thinking, was it real? I don't know. Was it real, or is this just an extra part of the reality show? I still think all of the clues overwhelmingly support the theory that this has all been fake and this has been the second reality show. If you want to debate whether it actually aired or where it was, maybe it was a movie or maybe it hasn't aired yet or maybe we're the first people to see it, I don't know, but it was edited for a show. You can't convince me otherwise. Absolutely 100% edited for a show. Whether anyone saw it or not, I don't know, but that's my final answer. But anyway, oh my gosh, so the finale is next week, which is just blowing my mind. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. I love your comments. I read all of them. So I try to reply to all of them, so please leave a comment on this video and thumbs up if you enjoyed it and if you're enjoying this season. But I love this season so much, and I love you guys for being here and watching my videos and supporting my channel. So I hope you guys have a great day. I can't wait till next week to see you guys for the finale. So bye.